I left out that last snippet. I'm going to save that till when she's 15 and she tells me I'm garbage. And I'm going to say, I had some candid thoughts about you as well. When you were 7 that I withheld out of respect. But I did share with a group of strangers at the Beacon Theater in New York City. We're very emotional, but we do withhold certain things, like I withhold anger. I experience anger and I hold it in because when I was a kid, my dad would get angry. And I remember thinking I'm never gonna do that because kids don't know a lot, but they absorb everything. Like if you're selfish, your kids know you're selfish. If you're kind, they know you're kind. Like a few months ago, Una noticed that when I had woken up, that Jenny had made me pancake. You heard that correctly. It was just one. She made me pancake. And I said, thank you for pancake. Because she's deeply familiar with my health profile, so she knows the right amount of pancakes for me to eat is pancake. So I wanted to do something nice for her because my love language is keeping score. And if you're clapping, yours is too. And if you're not clapping, yours is too, and you're losing. You didn't know there was a game going on. Last year, Jenny said to me, she goes, sometimes I feel like you're keeping score. And I was like, right. I'm not being coy about it. What do you think the whiteboard is for? In the kitchen. I'm just not subtle about it. I wish I were. Jenny describes me as the narrator of our marriage whom no one asked for. I'll be scrubbing dishes in the sink, and I'll be like, so I'm doing the dishes, and I'm going to grab ice cream for your parents, and I'm going to take the hair out of the drain in the shower. And she'll be like, you don't have to say all that. You could just do it, and then it'll be done. We don't have to talk about it. Because I do a lot of stuff, too. I don't talk about it. I just do it, and then it's done. And I said, I'm going to give you 5 points for that here on the whiteboard. You're still down by 3. It doesn't matter. I keep score. I'm not proud of it. I don't even know where it came from. I don't know if I learned it from my parents. I mean, I don't know how to be married. Like, no one taught me to be married. I'm just winging it every day. I mean, my marriage doesn't look anything like my parents' marriage. My parents would argue about stuff all the time, and Jenny and I argue, but it's different because Jenny's an introvert. And so arguing with an introvert is just reading into the silences. And deciding which of the silences you want to have words. So we're walking to pick up Una the other day, and Jenny seems quiet. And I was like, what's going on? And she goes, nothing. But I wasn't nothing. It was like one of those forks in the road where I'm like, wait, do I probe? Or do I let it lie? Does anyone know? I've been married 16 years. I have no idea. Has anybody who's been married a long time? Shout out how many years? How many years have you been married? 35. Oh, 35 years. Anyone longer than 35 years? 40. How about you?
57.
That's a lot. Well, first of all, what's your name? Ann? And what's your husband's name? Jan. Your husband's name is Jan? And your name is Ann? Okay. And I'm just getting that correctly? Ann and Jan? Are you real people? Are you? So Anne and Jan have been married 57 years. By the way, my parents have been married 60 years. Yeah, too long, right? I mean, when I was in my 20s, I said to my mom something that I had been holding in for years. I go, Mom, if you ever wanted to divorce Dad, we would be okay with that. I thought she was going to be like, thanks. You know what I mean? But she said to me something I'll never forget. She goes, Michael, you cannot understand someone else's marriage. Do you think that's true, Anne? Jan, do you think that's true? Anne and Jan? Or is it Jan and Anne? So Anne and Jan, you are the Broccoli Rob of this audience. I think this is hilarious. You probably do not think this is hilarious. This is your life all the time. So Anne, I want to ask you advice. If you're in this situation and you say to Jan, what are you thinking about? And he says nothing. Would you probe or would you let it lie? Probe. So Anne says probe. And Jan, would you probe or would you let it lie?
Let it lie.
And that's why it works, ladies and gentlemen. That's why the story of Anne and Jan has a happy ending. Because they are the oil and vinegar that creates a successful marriage salad. So I'm with you, Anne. I am. I probe. I just think it's just better to know more than less. I said to Jenny, I go, well, what are you thinking about? And she said nothing. She sort of like doubled down on it. And then I threw an off-speed pitch. I go, well, where did you just come from just now? And she goes, I was at home and I was watching the news and I got sad about the war. And I said, do you think it's my fault? And I was raised Catholic. I'm open to the idea that anything could be my fault. I think it's possible I masturbated so much it caused a war in the Middle East. I mean, maybe I'm a dreamer, but I'm pretty sure that's what that song is about. My dad would not like that joke. No, my dad doesn't like a lot of my jokes, but he particularly doesn't like it when they're crude. And then also personal, so he wouldn't have loved the 5-minute section on hard nipples. And he doesn't like political jokes. As a matter of fact, when I was in my 20s, I was doing a political joke, and then we ended up having this discussion from it about politics, and it was tense. You know, I was visiting him, and we went for a walk on this wooded path behind his house, and the farther we walked, the more tense it got, to the point where he was just saying mean-spirited things about me, and then I started saying mean-spirited things about him. And I got back to my car, and I said, bye, Dad. And he didn't say goodbye. He goes, well, you've gone another way. And that was it. And I just drove home. And I just felt so adrift. I thought my whole life I sort of wanted to be my dad, and at a certain point I decided I wanted him to be me. But I never had that with my mom. My mom and I have been close since I was a kid, because she's very religious. When I was a kid, I was very religious because kids love magic. And I love going to church because the priest got so many laughs on so little material. You know, they'd be like, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, boy. People would be like, Father Patrick's hilarious. I'd be like, he's not hilarious. There are no punchlines. It is all setups. And I was just like, get me up there, put me on the mic, sign me up for some open altars. I would kill. I would crucify. I mean, in the right context, I would crucify. I wanted to be a priest when I was a kid, and then I was an altar boy, and the answer is no. I wasn't. I think it's because they knew I was a talker. I have that look about me, and I was so bad at it. I think they thought if he's this bad at lighting candles, he's not going to be great at blowing them out. Which